Okay, so welcome back to Trailmakers, and today I'm going to be teaching you how, well, hopefully teaching you how this plane kind of works and how you can build it yourself. So this will be an aircraft dissection video. So first we're gonna, and today we're using the J7W Shinden, the first plane. I think that's the first World War II plane that I actually did a video on. So yeah, we're just gonna take the wing for now. So uh, let's okay. So let's just leave that there. Actually no, because that'll be distracting. Never mind. Get rid of this. You don't want to pay attention to this right now. So I'm gonna first dissect the wing. So here, if we look at the first section, we have of course the main uh, the closest to the actual airframe. It's a very simple design. I like keeping my aircraft simple and not putting like just not trying to make it overly too complex. I don't like doing overly complex builds. Well, I say that, but I think I've done maybe a few, but I don't know. I wouldn't know. But yeah, so for this, it's just uh, one by threes along the frontal edge of the wing, so it gets that, you know, angular. I don't know. I don't know how to do these. This is the first time, so yeah. So we have that. So of course, dissect it. Then we have these three things. Now, how I did this thing, or had it so that it's both green and yellow on the top, so it matches the yellow like thing that would be on Japanese aircraft, and have it gray on the bottom, is that I have a maxed out size decal that is part green, part yellow, and it is positioned somewhere on this, but it gets it very even along this path. Then the normal block color is gray, so it shows up on that side, which is a little unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do about it. Then the kind of the opposite, I would say, goes, or well, not the opposite, or something different goes for these ones, because these are also gray, but they only use normal decals and they're yellowed on the tops of them. I technically could do these in yellow and only have the bottoms in gray, but so yeah, the center bit of the wing. So there it is. Now we're gonna put that back together and move that off to the side. So yeah, if you want to copy it down, you can do it now. That's all there is to it. You don't need any other angle. That's a 1x4, by the way. Don't ask. Okay, moving on. So, now, the more complex bit. So we're gonna separate the wingtip from the central area. So here we have the probably one of the most important bits. So you don't need these simple hubcaps, but if you really want to add the the Japanese roundels onto it, you can use these. But just for the sake of the video, we're going to delete those and get them out of here. But they would be mounted right here on the wing, so just in case you want to add them again later, just put them back if you're following along and building it. So, from a sideways view, you can see the landing gear are built into the actual frontal bit of the wing. There's a 1x4 there, 1x3 there, 1x2 there, of which would connect right here, as you saw. Then a 1x2 panel, which is not optional because that connects the landing gear to the actual wing. So yeah, controls wise, 90 degrees, 0.5 speed, just so it doesn't like jerk around the aircraft in the air. So yeah, just for that easy bit of convenience. Then for the tail, I actually changed this design a little bit just to get more stability out of it, but I put a tail fin on a piston, of which this entire... How is this thing connected to the aircraft? Oh, wait. Oh, right. So then there's a 1x3 here. So 1x3 wedge, 1x3 small modular wing, 1x4 flat connector, which that flat connector is actually pretty important, so make sure to put that there. I'm pretty sure I put it there for structural reasons, just so like if you take damage you won't like die immediately, hopefully. So yeah, then if we take a side view of the tail fin, it is a rounded wedge 2x1 right there, small elevator fin put in a vertical position, wedge 1x4 on the bottom, wedge 3x1 on the top, block 1x3 there, aligning with everything. So this block will align with all of that. Then piston connected to that, and above the base of the piston, 1x2. Then that, I think you can tell, right? You're visual learners, right? Honestly, I don't know how else you would learn this. Oh, but the controls for the piston, speed 100, start position 0. The speed doesn't really matter because this isn't gonna move, so just keep it like this. This is all it needs to do. And for this one, I gave it an angle of 15 just so when you do use the rudder, it's not too aggressive and you don't like spin out or something like that. Anyway, we're going to move on to the end of the wing, so this is very simple. Wedge 1x4, small flap wing for the roll, which this one is set up like this. So yeah, take that in while you can. Right is facing up, obviously. So you have that going for you. So yeah, wedge 1x4, 1x3, 1x3, 2x1, and that. So that is the breakdown of the wing. So all you have to do is build that wing, duplicate it to the other side of the airframe, and boom, wing. Now I'm going to get rid of this because now we are going to have a look at how the airframe works. I hope this is interesting for you guys. I really hope so. Yeah, so let's remove the wings because we won't need that. Or I'll show you where the wings are mounted. Actually, no, we'll keep one. No, actually, we'll get rid of them. We're getting rid of them. Just so you can have a nice view at the airframe. So, how do we want to do this? Let's just do it like this. There we go. Let's do the rear part of the fuselage, the part that actually kind of matters a lot. So this is where literally all of the propulsion is, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's... Let me just undo this. Let's see. Is there any... there's a few. There's only like two. No, there's actually three. Never mind. So there's only though most of the propulsion's in the rear half of the aircraft. I mean, obviously though. So I could probably simplify that actually. Don't mind me. Okay, so we take a look at this, the bottom of it. Let's remove all the armor panels. Take all of them off of here. So we take that, and you know, let me just take out all of the. Let's take out all the thrusters. I want to show you what the thruster situation looks like. So we want to select all of these. So just let me select all of these real quick. Then that one. This thing is absolutely packed with stuff, so I'm trying to make sure I didn't select anything I didn't need to. There we go. Should be that. Okay, then select that one. Wait, did I miss a spot? Okay, no, I didn't. It's fine. Just trying to make sure I get everything so I can show you the insides of this thing, the power plant. There we go, that should be everything. It was not. It was indeed not. Okay, okay, but we at least got the most, at least like most of it out of there. Okay. So, the power plant of this thing is a pretty crazy structure, if I do say so. Okay, that probably has to go. Oh wait, no, we actually don't. No, let's take it anyway. Okay, so, the power plant of this thing is a ton of space thrusters that are configured in a way that I can maximize thrust output while making sure to keep it somewhat in line with the actual, like, where the propulsion would actually be. So it has to be in line with that propeller. So yeah, let's take this apart. So for the rear section, we take that, and here we have 3 space thrusters put in that configuration, a tube double cross on either side of the bottom level of this thruster, then 2 thrusters on here over this 2x4 block. So let me just give you a nice view of that. Then let's go to the second stage. Here we have same thing, but instead we have on the back we have 1x2s there instead, same tri configuration. Then on the back we have double, then square, round to square transitions, along with a 1x2 right there and a 1x4 on the bottom. Okay, then the third stage. Man, you know what? I might have to do timestamps for this one. Okay, so this one's same thing, except slightly different. Tri configuration, same thing on the back. And for this one, 1x4 on the bottom and top with 2 in the middle. So yeah, I think you guys can understand that pretty well. And then the fourth stage, if we move this back, then we have same thing, literally the same thing. So yeah, just do this one twice, then copy off of these. So yeah, that is the power plant of the aircraft. So let's put this back together. Let's maybe put the insides of this thing back in. Well, not yet, because we have a little more to look at. We have to look at the overall structure of the airframe. Why did I build it like this? Okay, I'm actually going to make changes to this as I build it, because now I realize this is a very inefficient design. See, this is what's also nice of it. Get out of here, tutorial. What do I look like? Someone who played this game, never? Probably could have said that where it actually made more sense. But yeah, the color used is the pine green one. Then I put decals on the bottom that are maxed out just to get the gray underside of the plane look. So yeah, pretty basic. So let's dissect the main airframe. So how do I want to do this? Let's take like that, send it up. Okay, let's take this apart. We're taking it apart. Okay, so now we have everything in absolute shambles. So let's start with the bottom section of the fuselage. This is where these bits will line up, and the bottom of this will go along with the bottom of this. So just so you know. So right here we have a rounded 2x1, wedge 2x1, 6x2, one of these blocks, 2x1x2. Then if we look down here, inverted corners made so it slants going towards these rounded wedge corners. Then on top of that, 1x2, 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 1x2 panel right here, because this is for aerodynamic reasons, so make sure you do this, then a large propeller on the end. Moving on, okay, let me just do a little, for my visual learning audience, I guess. Then, yeah, moving on to the second section, this is actually an extremely simplistic bit. Actually, let me move this back onto here, just because that doesn't actually belong to it. Okay, for this section, 2x4, 1x4, or 4x1, 2x4. Then these are the intakes, so this is a 3x1 and a 1x1x3 rounded cone, or quarter rounded cone. So yeah, we have one of those right there, and this will sit comfortably right there. So these two blocks will line up perfectly with that rounded 2x1. So yeah, that is the middle section. Actually, I should probably put this back together as I'm building it. Okay, we're putting the power plant back in. Oh, wait, I gotta actually put the... So this part will go right there. That slaps on top of that like that. And I actually think I messed it up. Yep. I am a genius. Verily, verily. So that will go there. That will go there. So slot that right back in. Everything fits perfectly. Now back here, let's start from the front. So on the top of the plane, this is the top, we have rounded 2x4s, the thing that I just replaced, then rounded 2x1s. So that will make up kind of like the top of where the engine housing and fuel stuff would be. Then rounded quarter cone 1x4, then 2 4x1s in the middle, 1x1x4 on the same side. So just mirror it over. Just mirror. Just use mirror mode. Even though it's still the mirror mode's pretty janky. Then moving on to the layer below, the one just behind this 2x1 panel, then round square transition, one of my favorite blocks if I may add, 1x2, then a quarter cone 1x1x4. Then here we have just a regular rounded 1x2, 2x2, and same thing on the other side, the 1x2. Then same thing on this side, so don't really need to go into depth about that. Then the propellers. So these pistons, once it's all assembled, these will sit in that little hole right there on the propellers. So those pistons will go right in there. So there you go. Then this is pretty much assembled kind of the same as this one. So it has the same 2x1 panel, 2x2 panel, then the rounded wedge corner 2x2x2, so you have those, then large propeller on the end. But on the top of this one, it has rounded wedge 2x1s right here. I wish they made a 2x2 version of this block, too long, too wide, because it's just for complexity reasons. Then on top of here, for aerodynamic reasons, we have a 2x2x4 wedge corner piece. And when you have all of that done, you can just take it, grab it, slam her on down, and look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, where did all those panels go? I don't know. So let's get rid of that, now that I've shown you that. So keep all of what you've done so far, and now we're going to move on to the front bit. The very front. This should probably be the easiest section to do. Okay, so we take all of that. So the section that you just saw me build, yeah, this is the end of the intake, by the way. So the back of the cockpit will be just ahead of that, so keep that in mind. So let's dissect the cockpit then, shall we? Starting with the canards on the front, we have two rounded 1x2 wedges. Actually, you could probably just look at this and glean that information. Then wedge 1x4, then it does that, so it's 8 wide. Then we have this, angle of 30, speed of 1. Make sure that, well, depending on how you do pitch up, so by doing this one's down because it's like pulling back on the stick for an aircraft, so that will lift the nose up, and pushing it forward will nose it down. So keep that in mind, since this thing kind of has a bit of a backwards sort of functioning system to it. So just in case you were curious on how this like more or less works. Then on the bottom, same thing, decals, you know, pretty nice if I say so myself. So then yeah, just mirror that over to the other side. These do not do roll. Make sure you don't do roll for these, because I feel like that would just make the aircraft unstable. Maybe you can do it for that, but I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, hope you liked those. Let's just move this one off to the side, just so we can have it for later, just in case. And let's move on to the nose. So from here, we have the nose of the aircraft. So the nose of the aircraft, let's take this apart and look at it. So on the inside, we have 4x1, 4x1s right next to each other, 2x1s, rounded wedge ones, not the rounded ones. Not the rounded, the rounded wedge. Make sure you get that distinction. Then same thing on top, 4x1, 4x1. Then it's just mirrored. Then 2x2, 2x2, 2x4, 2x4 on the bottom, 2x4 on the bottom. With that, just you can look at that and glean this information. I honestly, I wouldn't blame you for just muting the audio and just following along with the video. But you know, yeah. So that is that section of the nose. So we're gonna move that further out of the way. Actually, let me give you the 360 just in case. That's the nose. Now, moving on, we are going to do whatever's in front of the cockpit itself. Which actually, let's move this out of here. Actually, I probably should have shown you where that attaches to the nose. You know how I can show you once the rest of this is over, so it's fine. So right here. Oh, actually, we might have to do the entire cockpit then, because a lot of this is a lot of large blocks. So on the bottom we have 2x4 panels. So these will slot in or under those. So yeah, the 3 blocks that are missing here will be what connect to there. So let's take out the core mechanical stuff up here, or the additional thrust. Let's see. Come here, little guy. So we pull all of that out. And this is the propulsion. So this is pretty simple. This is the weight in the front that keeps the aircraft a bit more stable and doesn't make it like pitch up violently. And these are the additional thrusts just to give it to add both weight and more stability. So yeah, the propulsion wouldn't realistically happen up here, but it's just there for functionality reasons, and that will slot in right there. So yeah, that's that added onto there. So I'll just add on pieces as I go. So then slap these back on. Jeez, I need to hydrate after this. Okay, so taking that, moving these panels off to the side. Let's just slap them on the normal thing. There we go. So that's what that will look like, and in between there is where the landing gear will go. So the landing gear in question, inside here, we have along these. So you know, I'll just leave you guys to like visually learn off of this. So here we go. Then we have the inside of the little landing gear housing. So we have a 1x4, 1x3, 2x2, 1x2. Then that's the landing gear. So steering hinge. This sweeps forward, so make sure it's going that way in the direction of the nose. And 90 degrees, 0.5 speed, no steering help. Make sure you have steering help off, because steering help actually does cause lag. It actually is quite significant if you turn, like having steering help at 100% versus having it not at all. There's a huge difference, and your game will run a lot smoother without the steering help. And you don't really need it for the landing gear because you're not steering with it, so I think you'll be fine. Okay, so let's take our landing gear, and then so the bottom layer of this is like this. So let me give you a nice give you the underside view. Oh, also make sure you have this on the opposite side of, or right here where it would be, because it also helps get rid of like aerodynamic drag spots that don't really need to be there. Okay, now for the bottom of the, or for the cockpit itself. So, wedge one by, let's take the guns out actually. I'll show you those in a little bit. So those can go there. So we have 1x1, 1x2 panel, then under that we have a 2x2 and a 1x2. I feel like you could do them in reverse, but just so you don't have all the seams in an obvious spot, I would do it like this. So then along here we have more panels, 1x2 near the back of the cockpit. Then under here it is just a 6x2, rounded 1x2, round a square transition, 1x1x2, then a 1x2. For the cockpit itself, I did square decals on here. You can try and replicate this as much as you can. I'm not going to show you the exact placement, but the size of the decal I used was a 1.50 square thing with, so just look at the colors, make sure you look at those so you know what to do. Then I did, I think the same thing for this one. Yeah, but this one is a 1.69. Why is that so specific? Anyway, I just do 1.70. So yeah, that is the cockpit decals. So now I'm actually going to break down the blocks of this. So on the side you have quarter cone 1x1x3, rounded 1x2, long hood on top, which this doesn't actually have any aerodynamic drag, so you don't have to worry. Then right here we have a 2x4. These are all glass, by the way, if you couldn't tell. If you haven't seen glass before in your life, by some miracle, if that's the right word. Then if you want to add extra functionality to this and you need it, an XOR logic gate is here in case you want it. You can replace this with an altitude sensor if you really want to. Then at the side of this thing here, just to show you that, it's a 1.5 size circle for the Japanese roundels. Then up here, 4x1, 4x1, for quarter cone again. Then that sticks out in front of there, and yeah, that just about breaks down that. So yeah, that is the cockpit. I don't know how long this episode has gone on for, so I'm going to be a bit more careful. So put that back there, then slap that back on there. Now, the guns. So, it is a panel 2x2 connected to two pistons. These pistons will slot in right there, or I believe on top of either this one or this one's block. So, yeah, there's that. And these pistons are of course set to 100 speed, 0 position, low dampening, because dampening, if you reduce the dampening, it makes it a lot more stiff. And we don't want things to like jumble about, and actually dampening kind of makes the physics freak out a little bit, so be careful of that. So yeah, those are the controls. The guns don't have any controls, they're just the basic smart cannons. On top you have a panel 2x2 and a flat connector 1x2. Okay, now we slap this all back together, and hopefully, if my instructions have been clear enough, you will have, by the end of this, something that vaguely resembles a J7W Shinden. So if we slap, yeah, that would slap on right there, just in front of the, just above this 1x2 panel. So there we go. That is that. So once you get all this constructed, it will just assemble all onto what you've built thus far. Okay, let's actually put this back on here. Get rid of that. So let me show you where everything would slap on. The final, okay, sorry about that. So the final bit. So the cockpit will, I'll divide all the sections that we've built so far. Okay, so the cockpit section, that'll go right there. The wings will be taken off. wings off. There we go. So, oh, then if you want to see where the panels are placed on the bottom, so they're like that, but the cockpit will snap right onto there, but you can keep the, obviously keep the design changes I made, such as the 1x4 I put there, and, well, since I didn't save it, and also because I forgot that, Jesus, sorry if I'm yapping too much, but yeah, I don't really know how to, I don't know how to do these. This is the first one, so of course it's gonna be a mess. So if we look top down here, the wings are this long. They're 6 long, so they'll slap perfectly onto this thing, so everything lines up like this. So yeah, keep it like that. And I swear to God, if I see one instructions unclear comment, I understand, but also I feel like I'm being pretty clear here. So bear with me, please. Please. So the wings will snap on like so. Let me just snap them back on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. They're assembled like that. They're assembled like that. Hopefully you have a functioning plane after this. If you don't, I am so sorry. Oh, then if you want to see where the roundels on the wings are placed, they're placed right there. Also, I'm not sure if I'm being too loud, so yeah, then you take the cockpit, which actually, now that I look at it, is kind of flimsily placed onto the entire plane. Oh, and make sure you get the hood piece right here. I don't think I mentioned that. So, yeah, so here we go. Then you slap the cockpit back on there, and everything lines up perfectly. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's probably going to be a longer one, but yeah, with how I do aircraft, yeah, this is about as well as I can explain how it works. I rationalize it to myself, and it makes sense to me just because it, like, makes sense somehow. It makes sense in my mind, so therefore that's how it is, but it's not, so you know. I'm doing hand gestures, by the way, as I'm talking, for some reason, even though you can't see me, so yeah, that we have that going for us also. But anyway, by the end, you should have, oh, I didn't, what did I do wrong? Oh, actually, never mind. Don't do the upgrades I mentioned to you. I think it's actually the problem with this. Okay, never mind. Don't make the changes I made, otherwise it won't work. Sorry about that. God. Don't make the changes I made. At least the changes with this top bit. I think that's the problem. Yeah, don't make changes to the top bit. Don't make changes to that. You can put the 4x4 in there, but don't make changes to the top bit, okay? So yeah, once you're done with that, you should have so the skirt noises aren't there. Oh, also make sure when you install the propellers, one is flipped opposite to how the other one is, just so you can have that nice 6-bladed propeller look, how the J7W would have. So yeah, that is my tutorial, I guess, for the J7W, my aircraft dissection. Sorry, I'm dreadfully sorry you had to listen to my voice for this long. Oh yeah, landing this isn't the easiest. But yeah, if you look at the landing gear, it's pretty simplistic. At the front, it's a 3-long pipe. Then let me just give you a close look. It's extremely simplistic. At the bottom there, it's a 1x3 flat connector. Then it's just a pipe T, and it's literally the same for all of these. It's literally the same. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this aircraft dissection, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully, where I'll probably do a dissection of maybe the flying flapjack that I made, if you really want to see that. But anyway, I'm gonna go get a drink. I don't know about you, but yeah, see you in the next one. I honestly hope you enjoyed this one. Yeah, and also comment if you want to see more. So yeah, goodbye.